All right, so welcome to the team. We're going to throw you right into the deep end. Your first mission, really, is to learn how to think like the bad guys. I mean, you can't possibly defend a network if you don't understand how it gets attacked, right? So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to deconstruct their entire playbook, from start to finish. Let's dive in.
Okay, so to get us started, I want you to think about this question. I mean, really think about it. Imagine one of those classic bank heists you see in the movies, with all the careful planning, the team, the whole shebang. Now, think about a massive data breach you've seen on the news. What's the one thing those two events really have in common?
It's the plan. Simple as that. They both start with a plan. And look, if you take away just one thing from this whole session, make it this. Cyber attacks are not random. They're not just some chaotic burst of digital noise. They are carefully planned, methodical operations. They follow a pattern, a playbook, just like any other well-organized crime.
So that brings us to our first big idea. We've got to stop thinking about hacking as some kind of mysterious dark art. It's not magic. It's an organized crime, plain and simple. And to really hammer this point home, I like to use an analogy.
Just think of a classic home break-in, right? A burglar doesn't just stroll up to a random house and try to kick down the front door. No way. They do their homework. They watch the house, they figure out when you go to work, they look for that unlocked window in the back or that spare key under the rock. Well, cyber attackers do the exact same thing. It's just their neighborhood is the internet. They watch, they plan, and they hunt for that one weak spot.
Okay, so if these are all planned operations, that means there has to be a playbook, a script they follow. And there is. In cybersecurity, we have these really well-defined frameworks that both the attackers and, more importantly, defenders like us use. They basically map out every single step of an attack. Think of them as the attacker's blueprints.
So, here you see the two big ones. On one side, you've got the cyber kill chain. It was developed by Lockheed Martin, and it has this military-inspired feel to it, It's all about understanding the progression of an attack from the outside. Then you've got the CEH hacking methodology. That's more from the ethical hacker's point of view, the guys we hire to test our own systems. But here's the key. They're basically two sides of the same coin. They map out the same journey just from different perspectives. Today we're going to stick with the kill chain, because it helps us think like the attacker.
And this is where that home break-in analogy really pays off. Let's walk through it. Step 1, reconnaissance. That's the burglar casing the joint. Step 2, weaponization. They're building their special tool, their digital crowbar. Step 3, delivery. How do they get that tool to your front door? Maybe it's a phishing email. Step 4, exploitation. That's the moment the lock clicks and the door swings open. Step 5, installation. They're inside and they're propping a window open so they can get back in easily. That's installing malware. Step 6, command and control. They're using a walkie-talkie to get instructions from the van down the street. And finally, Step 7, actions on objectives. They grab the jewels and they're out. See? Each step logically follows the one before it. It's a process.
All right, so we've got the playbook down. Now, let's talk about the players on the field and the specific moves they make. This is where we get into the who, why, and how. And for that, we use a concept you're going to hear a lot about, TTPs. That stands for tactics, techniques, and procedures.
Let's start with tactics. A tactic is the high-level goal. It's the what they're trying to do. So going back to our kill chain, in the exploitation phase, a common tactic is simply initial access. That's the goal, get a foothold.
Right, so if the tactic is the what, then the technique is the how. It's how they're going to achieve that goal. So for initial access, what's their technique? Are they going to exploit a vulnerability in some old software? Or are they going to try to brute force a password? There can be tons of different techniques for any given tactic. And finally, procedures. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is the super specific, in-the-weeds implementation. A procedure isn't just exploit a vulnerability. It's use the Conti ransomware to hit the Log4j vulnerability. It gets that specific. It names the exact tool and the exact weakness. That's the level of detail we need. So, who are these people running these plays? The word hacker is thrown around all the time, but this definition really nails it. It's someone smart with serious computer skills. But the key part of this definition, the part that matters most to us, is the motivation. Why are they doing it? Is it just a hobby? Are they just curious? Or is it to do something illegal? That intent, that's what separates a white hat from a black hat. And this chart lays it all out really nicely. You've got your black hats, they're in it for the money, pure and simple. They're the ones using ransomware. Then you've got white hats, that's us, the good guys, finding holes so we can patch them. Script kiddies are usually amateurs, just using tools someone else built to make some noise. And then you have the nation-state actors. These are the pros playing for the highest stakes. Espionage, sabotage, you name it. The point is, if you know their motivation, you can start to predict their moves.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the attacker's side of things, their playbook, their motivations. Let's switch gears. An alarm goes off, there's been an intrusion. How do we start to make sense of it all? How do we piece it together? Well, for that, we have an amazing tool called the Diamond Model.
The reason the Diamond Model is so great is its simplicity. It forces you to answer 4 fundamental questions for every single incident. Who did it? That's the adversary. Who did they do it to? That's the victim. What did they do? That's the capability. And what did they use to do it? That's the infrastructure. If you can fill in those 4 corners, you've got a complete picture of what happened. Let's run through a quick example to see how it works. Okay, let's say we're dealing with a phishing attack. First corner, the adversary. We look at the malware they used, the language in the email, and based on that, we can attribute it to a known criminal group. We know their main goal is making money. Boom, we've identified our who. Next up, the victim. Who got hit? It wasn't just a random person, it was an employee in the finance department of a big company. And that tells us something, right? A financially motivated attacker went after an employee at a financial services company. That's no coincidence. It's a high-value target. All right, third corner, capability. This is the how. So how'd they do it? They used this spear phishing email. This wasn't just some generic spam. It was tailored, it used the employee's name, maybe mentioned a project they were working on, all to get them to click on that malicious attachment. And last but not least, the infrastructure. What physical or virtual stuff do they use to pull this off? Well, there's the email server they used to send the message, and, even more important, there's the command and control server, the C2, that the malware is now talking to. Finding that C2 server is absolutely crucial for shutting them down.
So, this is the really important part, where it all comes together. The kill chain, the diamond model, this isn't just academic stuff for a textbook. These are the actual tools we use every single day to build our defenses. This is how we connect the dots.
And here is the big payoff. You're going to live and breathe the MIT ATK framework here. It's basically the encyclopedia of every known TTP. And the best part? It maps almost perfectly to the cyber kill chain. Those early stages, recon and weaponization, that's what MITRE calls pre-attack. And everything after that, delivery, exploitation, all the way to the end, that's covered in the enterprise attack framework. So by learning the kill chain today, you're already building the mental model you need to use our most important defensive tool. Okay, that was a lot of theory, I know. So let's make this practical. When you get your first ticket, your first real incident, it's going to feel like a lot is coming at you at once. It's easy to get overwhelmed. So think of this as your go-to checklist. It'll help you stay focused and make sure you don't miss anything. Whenever you're analyzing an incident, just run through these questions. Can you find any evidence of reconnaissance? How are they watching us? What was the weaponization and delivery? I mean, how did they actually get their malicious code into our environment? How did the exploitation and installation happen? Where did we go wrong? Can you find the command and control traffic on the network? And finally, what were their actions on objectives? What were they actually trying to steal or break? Use this list every time. It'll keep you on track. And that's pretty much it. That's the foundation. You now know how an attacker thinks, how they operate, how they plan. You've got the models to analyze what they did and a checklist to guide you through it. So really, the only question left is the one you'll be answering every single day you work here. You know their playbook, so what's your first move?